are Brightside Theater.
Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. The home theater podcast, it's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes.
Oh, wait, that was a little different.
Oh, was it different? Okay. Different
slightly
pitch.
Different from the
scenes. Okay, well, I can't hit my mark every time.
I
do my best.
I said yes. In today's Takeover Tuesday, I said, I'm like, yeah, it's like he's here. He hits it every time. And here you go.
Whoops.
Damn.
Okay, yeah, take two.
Take two. Oh, man. How you been? I know you're busy.
Yeah.
I'm coming in hot. You said, yep, looking forward to this.
Yeah, no, it's been busy. You guys have had the Memorial Day weekend there, haven't you? We've had a bank holiday weekend here, which has been really busy, getting some stuff sorted around the house and some bits and pieces. And between getting decorators in and also busy at work, it's kind of crazy. But I've still had time to catch up and watch some good stuff. So including potentially courting controversy today, Deej. But we'll get to that. I may have a different view about a certain something to other people.
Which
let's
one?
see what happens.
I don't know what any opinions on. No, I am not. Literally, I'm not on. I went on today to retweet your tweet, and God, I liked a couple of things that somebody said and bounced right back out. Right?
Yeah.
I haven't paid attention, so I literally don't know what any opinions of any of these movies are.
I haven't said anything on Twitter about it. I thought I'd save it for the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So there might be some pushback.
Yeah, it's not on me because I haven't said anything, right? It's not against me.
No.
I haven't said anything about any of this.
No.
Oh, I'm fascinated. Wow, you got me. You got you got me teased. Nice. Yeah. All right, stop giggling. There's many reasons you can say the word teased.
Well, yes, indeed. Oh man,
I really don't know. That's interesting because that's what happens when you get off social media like that. It's I literally don't know any. I couldn't even. No idea. I don't know any opinions on any of these movies that we're going to be talking about later. So
yeah, okay, yeah, no, I can. As I said, I think I'm in the minority.
Okay,
but we'll see.
I bet you the listeners have a better idea what you're talking about than I do.
One of them does, I think. Yeah, in fact, no, I know one of them does.
Yeah.
But the others we'll see.
Speaking of the listeners, what do we got? I literally just sat down. I haven't even had time to scroll. I'm doing it right now.
Okay,
what do we got?
So first in was someone called Steve George. A little bit of inside baseball here. Yeah.
That was cheating. That's cheating. A little inside baseball there because it was at what you got in at 10:50. So at 10:45, you said, "Do you want me to tweet out the link?" I was like, "Oh crap, I haven't made it yet," and I had to run down and make it. So that's kind of not fair.
So I knew it had been done. So I thought, right, now's my chance. So I don't count that. So we'll call that Captain AC3. I think he can be first.
Great email today from Captain AC3. I wound up to Takeover Tuesday with. Yep.
Oh, okay. I feel bad. I haven't heard any of it. I'm going to do that tomorrow. Yeah. I have not kept up with my homework, and for that I apologize. So hi, Captain AC3. Mikey Schramm is in. Then Steve who's trying to make up for his deficiencies by saying that he decided to grow up this week and figured he'd check a bit later to see how the early worms were doing. But there are time zone advantages. It's more than that, Steve. It's behind the scenes advantages.
Yeah, exactly.
So Holger's in. He and I have been having a little chat about 3D. And then we've got Marcus Beebs in, Mark Hader's in, Dom's in as well. And I think Paul Hertz just dropping in. He's
Mark
entertaining.
Hader,
Yeah, so he may not be here too long. Jordan's in, Van Gool's in, Ariel Alanis is in, Zombie Russ is in, having survived a weather event this week by the looks of it. What's an EF3?
It should be a
tornado.
Tornado, I should be right. Something.
Yeah,
I think so. I think
is
that's
that, I mean, the only thing I know about tornadoes comes from Twister.
So, yeah, I think that's a 3.
Okay.
I think that's tornado, especially in Arkansas.
So, okay, well, glad you survived it, Zombie Rush. Good man. All right, we don't want you to be an actual zombie. Edward Coolbraith. Hi, Edward. Good to see you. Oh yeah, tornado. There you go.
Yep.
See, we don't have those things over here, Zombie Rush. Not exactly. Anyway,
yeah.
You know, it's a slight wind running in a circle. They'll call it a tornado here, but it's not a. It's nothing like you guys. So glad you're okay. So yeah, so fair few in. Yep, everyone's here, present and correct. And a few others besides, looking at the numbers. So you know, if you're here for the first time and you want to say hi, feel free to just pop into the chat, and we guarantee you a lukewarm welcome.
Lukewarm.
Sorry, warm welcome. Warm welcome.
Oh, warm welcome. Warm welcome. You just, yeah. Yeah. It's, let's see. The tornado. I knew a girl when I was working at a factory, and she'd moved from Wyoming or whatever, and she said she knew about tornadoes, and she's like, yeah, when there's a tornado, you got to get in the doorway. And I'm like, no, that's earthquake. She goes, I think I know. I grew up with them. I go, well, no, it's basement and like underground something for tornado.
Yeah, a tub or something, like a bath or something.
Right. Yeah. And this was before Twister had come out. And I was like, you're just going to be standing in the doorway spinning in the air. It's like, it takes the house.
Yeah, but the door's safe.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on, get a good view.
Yeah, I must admit, all I know about tornadoes is from Twister. Oh, and an IMAX documentary on them as well about tornado chasing. And it's an F5 in Twister, isn't it? They don't call it an EF.
Yeah.
Unless F is in EF.
Yeah, maybe I think it could be. Yeah. It actually, it could be F5 as in EF, like they're saying F.
Yeah, pronouncing it. Yeah, F.
Yeah. So, and that could be something. It's not Furiosa. It's not in the Furiosa scale or something like that, but finger of God. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's Twister though, isn't it? Don't they say that F5 is
finger
of God,
is the maximum.
Yeah.
Speaking of Twister, have you seen the trailer for the new one? What do you think?
I've seen it a couple of times, including this week. I just think it looks like exactly the same movie. It looks like a remake rather than a sequel to me, but without the same enigmatic actors and characters, if you want my honest opinion.
Yeah. I felt that way at the beginning of the trailer, and then by the end of it, because of what's his name from he was in Top Gun, Maverick.
Yeah, Maverick. I can't think his name escapes me, but yeah. But he's good, but he's no Bill Paxton.
No, but I think I think it is a remake of the original, but what they're doing is, it looks like from the trailer that they're taking the roles of like how they're, instead of headbutting each other like the two teams were doing, it's actually like they're going to work they know each other. They separated earlier in life, and it's going to be a little bit different. Glenn Powell. There you go. Thanks, Tom. Yeah. So I'm like, it looks like an interesting story in a way. I mean, look, it's just a way to do special effects. It make our room go whoosh and boom.
Yeah, but it doesn't look all that exciting either. It all looks like it's kind of been seen before. I thought there'd be something really, money shot.
More cows
to me. Yeah, well, quite. Yeah, well, that's exactly what it says, isn't it? Cows. There they go again. But it just feels like kind of we've seen it before. And so I'm not really excited. I mean, funny enough, Jordan and I were having a DM about this earlier today, I think, about, I'm just not that excited for Twisters. I thought I would be, because I really liked the first one. And you and I are both people that imported the German disc, the Blu-ray with the Atmos sound, and really enjoyed it. But the trailers just look so, I've seen it. Nothing in there really grips me at the moment. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping it's really good, but it's just a bit. I've seen it.
I feel like that's like a smart marketing, like the old switcheroo. We're gonna market it as like, look, it's kind of the same, just a remake, and then you get there and it is different, fun, but still, it is still Twisters. I mean, you could say the same thing about any of the Jurassic Park movies. It's like, we've
And yet,
seen
is it though?
dinosaurs.
Because you,
Here's
yeah,
more.
but you've got, but they're bigger and they're nastier. And I mean, they actually make jokes about it. So you've got your
Yeah.
Spinosaurus and then your Indominus Rex, and you've got your, you know, your, and so actually with Jurassic Park, what they gave you was the money shot was it's bigger, it's nastier, it's now they fly and now they do all, you know, whereas this is like it's the same. You even get Dorothy. You even see Dorothy. You even see, you know, and it's like, so is this a remake? Is it a sequel? Why are they talking like this is new? And it's so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I hope I'm wrong, but the trailers do not inspire me at the moment. And isn't that then the opposite of what marketing should be? Shouldn't marketing be, I've got to see that, not I've already seen that.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
and I did
you know,
feel the same way at the beginning of the trailer. It's just by the end of the trailer, I was like, all right, I'm in for that. I'm in for that.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure I'll see it in the theater, but I'm excited for it.
Well, that's the thing. I'm just not my microphone, just not quite enough to get the juices flowing.
Yeah.
So I was going to say I wasn't blown away by the trailer, but then I thought that's a bit on the nose.
Oh my god!
So
11 minutes and 22 seconds. I think that's a new record, to be honest.
Set the bell.
I'm like, I can't believe it. Yeah, exactly. I can't believe it took that long.
I'm just going around in circles, you know. It's but anyway,
don't get all twisted in a knot.
Oh, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Captain says no Helen Hunt. I don't think there's any repeat characters, as in actors. I don't think so. Anyway, and I kind of thought that maybe it is a remake, and they have changed the, like you say, the character dynamics, or are they the children of? You know, Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt.
Well,
I mean, we just don't know. But
it's
just a bit underwhelming in a summer that is starting to become a bit notorious for movies not succeeding. I don't know whether. Yeah. Well, this is Well, movies generally. I mean, they're all. The Fault Guy is one. I mean, we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was having a very interesting conversation with someone we both know earlier this week about the panic. That's the word used. Panic at the studios that are 60% down on last year. They are really worried.
Wow.
But that was
Have they
last
heard
week.
my rant about trailers yet?
Yeah, well, that's it. Maybe it's you, DJ. Is it your fault? Have you put everybody off the?
It could be that I have. I mean, I haven't been going as much because I'm building a house. Look at that. I'm 60% of the market.
That's
sad.
You were about 90% of Bloodshot market.
That's low. That's low.
But yeah, so in a summer though that is becoming notorious for, is this a tipping point? I mean, it seems every summer they're giving it that, but if this is what it's becoming, then you know, things like twisted marketing the familiar is probably not a good idea. You should be marketing the it's unmissable. Look at this. Not seen that.
Let me bright side something for you. One of the most successful movies in the last 5 years was almost a straight remake.
Yeah, Maverick.
Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And it's like they hit you with that nostalgia. And you walked out. I mean, and we did not expect that. We just were like, we just wanted to see planes. We wanted to see action. We want to see this. And you walked out of there going, what the? Like, that was it. I mean, it literally. Am I wrong in saying it's one of the most popular movies in the last 5 years?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, up until last year, probably with Oppenheimer and Barbie and that whole thing. Yeah. It was, but I mean, some might say though, and you bright-sided, I'll devil's advocate it. So you'll say
we're on
right
shoulders here.
Yes. It's where's Animal House when you need it? Is Maverick was a fluke because people have been out of the cinemas for 2 years. Something hits that is like, oh my God, I can go back and see something that is like putting on an old pair of shoes when I haven't been to the cinema for 2 years. And so I wonder if Maverick was a freak or a fluke, because since then, other than Barbie and Oppenheimer notwithstanding, things are underwhelming. And if you say Tom Cruise, a franchise we know, so should be a guaranteed success. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning wasn't.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, just
Like,
devil's advocate, but it does suggest that there are issues with the familiar, and Maverick might be the exception that proves the
yeah.
rule. Um, I don't know. Like I said, Twisters might do gangbusters. I mean, here's me
I
saying
hope.
this: Deadpool and Wolverine is gonna. If that does not do $1 billion, no movie's doing that this year.
No, not this
Um,
year. Yeah.
so, but
If that
again,
doesn't do $1 billion, we might not have $1 billion movie again.
well, a conversation with someone you and I both know, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
But this was a private conversation, so I can't, I'm not going to disclose who it is. But they were saying that the studios are living in the past. That Deadpool Wolverine will be lucky to break 600 million.
Really?
Yeah, that's the
Hmm.
early tracking. I mean, I said to this person, it's got to be $1 billion. It's got to be.
It's got to be.
Yet,
but like, I'd be interested to know how they track that. So, like, how do you speculate that? Like, because, like, what do you say? Like, well, you watch the whole movie and go, well, see, we got a low point here, so that's going to drop, 200,000 people. You got to look, you don't know, like, word of mouth. Like, it just could be that one, like, comes back and, I mean, Marvel does need to be rejuvenated right now. I'll be honest. I like them all. I go and see them all, but it's not like it used to be. I don't think it'll ever get back to what it was. It was so fresh and new and great back then. And I think people are it's just same old now. And this could be the chance with, Deadpool Wolverine, where you're actually getting a Marvel movie that's going to incorporate everything that we wanted back when all those studios were separated, and you're getting rated R, and you're getting all of the things that everybody's been asking for. If the word of mouth after day one on that isn't super positive, then we won't get $1 billion. But if everybody comes out going, I am blown away, that's everything I wanted and more, it'll do it. So how do you not speculate that? How do you speculate that? Do you already know you have a crappy product? You know what I mean? That's
well, yeah. I mean, I'm not, obviously I've got to be a little bit careful that we don't identify this particular person. But
I'm not identifying anybody. How do you do that in anybody in that situation? It's not like,
but in terms of kind of what makes them think perhaps it won't hit that, we don't obviously don't want to identify this person, but I think, I didn't get the impression it was because of a quality issue. I think they're just very worried about people not
trends.
going. Yeah. And that trend is very much moving downwards. And just to answer that, Van Gaal says in the chat, you two saying last year was a better year for movies than what we're getting so far. I don't think it's a quality issue. I'm not suggesting the movies are not, well, I might suggest one in a bit, but I'm not suggesting generally that another hint, that the movies this year have been bad. The ones that I've seen, I mean, I haven't seen, for instance, I still haven't seen Ghostbusters, the new one. I haven't seen that. And there are a couple that have passed me by. But what I have seen, I mean, The Fall Guy was excellent, but we couldn't say enough about that last week. And Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I absolutely loved. I thought it was great. So and June Part 2, obviously, again, we talked about that. There have been some great movies this year. I'm not talking about quality. I'm talking about looks as though returns wise, from what I understand, are nothing like what they were hoping for. And as I said, that word panic was used in this conversation. And we're not just talking a studio, it was studios plural.
Yeah. So that tends to lead to, it's the trend of movie going, which I think could be a direct relation to COVID, people up in their home theater game, regardless if it's a dedicated room, living room, whatever, and people just being like, when you finally get to go back, here we are years later, and it's like, it's only the big events. It's the Mavericks or the big talking events like Barbenheimer and stuff. And other than that, it'd be like, wait a few weeks. I mean, you'll hear it next week's Takeover Tuesday. We talk about that exact thing. And we're like, how people like us are like, seriously, it's like everything you go through. I can wait a couple more weeks to see this. I mean, look at Fall Guy. It waited 2 weeks and we saw it at home. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, well, quite.
So that might be that. I mean, that was the first evidence of that panic you're talking about.
Well, quite. I mean, it certainly looks to be something that they are very, very concerned about. And I mean, I'm the same. As I said to you last week, you know, I have a first weekend, see it if I want to see it, and after that, I'm suddenly all interest in it wanes. Other than with the Full Guy, and
Yeah.
that's only because someone, you know, John mentioned to us how good it was, and we were like, oh, okay, well, I'll make the effort to go see that. Otherwise, that would have gone the same way. So yeah, it's interesting. And if people like us, even though we're home theater junkies, we're movie fans as well. And if people like us are thinking twice, do we really want to go? It does point towards a problem. And again, I mean, the movie that I'm going to talk about a bit later, I saw on Saturday night. Sorry, no, Friday night, day of its release. There were 8 people in a 500-seater theater to see a ginormous release. So one starts to wonder, and again, had it not been for this person I was having this chat to, one begins to wonder whether this is, you know, more widespread and worldwide, in fact. But who knows? I mean, they've just had the quietest Memorial Day weekend, other than through COVID, for 30 years. You know, I mean, it's not. You know, it doesn't bode well, does it?
I don't think
you know,
I'm not. I mean, I'm not patting myself. I don't think it's a coincidence that we're seeing like the trailers, the movie going experience, everything. It stinks. It stinks. And it's like, and the sad thing is, it's not, I mean, from a home theater perspective, for us, it's not worth it, because we get, the only thing it's worth it for is to get that group experience, to be with a big crowd. And here you are opening day and you're with 4, you could get that at home.
Yeah, it's quite literally 4. I could.
Exactly. So, but I think I don't think the movies are failing us. Meaning like the studios, they're putting out good product. I don't think it's any worse now than it was 30 years ago. It's, you have selective memory the further away you get. You're like, oh, 1977 was awesome. No, look at all the movies that came out in 97. There was so much crap, and then you had like Star Wars, and you had these, and you only remember the greats. But there was crap then too. And just like, you know, we had Barbenheimer the year before, we had Maverick, we had Indiana Jones that year. Those were decent. They were fun. We went to the movies, but there was crap too. It's just, it's the experience of going to the movies that's just not worth it. People have been begging, let us just watch it at home. And now they did. And people are like, thank you, I'm not going back. And they're shocked. The theaters are going to lose. Studios won't. They'll just shift, and they'll just ship it to home quicker. You know what I mean? It's it's not, movies aren't going to go away. Right?
No. How they do the business might change.
Right.
But yes. Yeah,
and we're well prepared. We've got our bunkers. You know, we're ready. Come on, bring it.
As the T-shirt says.
Yeah. So exactly. So we're like, you're gonna shut down all the theaters? You're not shutting mine down. Let's go. I mean, we'll enjoy everything. So
yeah. It is certainly. I was concerned to read this, and again, this guy's in a position to know what's going on, and it was a bit of a worry for me, and you know, thinking, oh my goodness me. But I'm part of the problem. You know, I'm very selective about what I go to see in theaters. I mean, I've been to the theaters more in the last 3 weeks than I've been in years, but that's not going to carry on.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh well. Never mind. Anyway, happy.
Happy. Hashtag bright side.
Yeah. At least we have got some good stuff to talk about.
I don't know. Do we? I mean,
we do. We have one that's going to put the cat amongst the pigeons, and my concern about that has only grown as I've seen the chat.
Oh God.
However, the another hint. However, all the other stuff is very cool, and we're going to talk about something tonight that is my favorite of this thing. I think of all of them, and look, there it is.
Open up with.
Oh, you can do if you want to.
Sweet Christmas. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let me pull it up. There we go. There you go.
Okay. So, yeah, let's start then right at the top. Okay. Like a roller coaster. We're going to just sort of start at the top and then head downwards, maybe.
Plummet.
Yeah.
Is
G-force
this a roller
12.
coaster, or is it that elevator drop?
It was like a log flume.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no backup, and at the end we're all soaking wet. So, okay, so this then, for those listening, not looking on YouTube, is Obi-Wan Kenobi on 4K UHD disc and in Dolby Atmos,
Nice.
which is, believe it or not, Deej, 2 years old as of last weekend. The one
Come
just gone
on.
2 years ago. I mean, where has that time gone? That's crazy. I didn't know it. You came up on Twitter over the weekend, and I was like, "Oh my goodness me, you're joking!" So yeah, 2 years ago. This is one that came across from Canada. It's out here, I think, next week, but it's been out there for 2-3 weeks. So I watched it this week, and I thought, you know what? I thought I'm going to watch a couple of episodes. That's all I'll get to fit in, and then I could talk about those a bit like I did with Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. No, I started watching and I couldn't stop. And I watched all 6 episodes within 2 days, which is unusual for me. And I could have watched it again, and I could have watched it again. And I wish they'd done like 30 episodes of this, not 6, because boy, oh boy, did I have a great time revisiting this. I enjoyed it first time round. I did like it. And I appreciate, again, lots of people don't, but I really enjoyed this first time round. And it was even better this time. It just goes by, though, in the blink of an eye.
Doesn't
6
it?
episodes. I'd like, click your fingers, gone. Right, where the hell did all that go? And I thought maybe I'd missed a disc. I mean, there are only 2 discs, but I just thought I must have missed one here somewhere. But no, it's 6 episodes, and they fly by. Now, and in terms of the thing itself, I think, and I watched the last episode earlier this evening just because I wanted to save it so it was fresh. I personally think, just my opinion, the acting and the writing in the last episode of this in particular is the best acting, writing, delivery of any of the Star Wars TV shows to date. And I include Andor in that. Yeah, I just think the
and you were a huge fan of Ahsoka too, though.
Yeah, well, quite exactly. And I mean, I can't wait to revisit that on disc. But I mean, I remember really liking it at the time, but it was just awesome this time. Ewan McGregor, and again, I won't spoil it because some people may not yet have seen it. It might have been waiting for disc, so I won't. There is Ewan McGregor does a piece to another character where he's apologizing, and he's got tears in his eyes, and I just think that was so moving. And then there is a beautiful scene right at the end where, again, he is talking to someone about their parents. And I think it is absolutely, I mean, I think it's art. It's not Star Wars. It's not schlock TV. This is delivered in such a good way. I thought it was amazing. And that's before you get to the hello there moment. I just think it's hello there. And it's absolutely awesome. I loved revisiting this, and I really did. This was great, and I'm so glad I've now got it on disc, and I will watch this again and again and again. So really enjoyed the experience of watching it. Now, video and audio. Now, video, it looks awesome. Really good. There's a big difference between how The Mandalorian looks on Disney Plus and how it looks on disc, and this just takes it up 2 or 3 notches again. The HDR on Vader's costume and all the the black levels and the HDR on obviously on his sort of breathing panels and the lightsabers, which of course, and this is the first time on disc we've got the traditional lightsabers. Obviously, we had the white sabers in Mandalorian season 2 and the dark saber, but this is the first time we get the reds and the blues and against inky black night, and it just looks amazing. It's so good, and you can even see marks on Vader's helmet. If you'll forgive the expression, you can see that little scratch marks he's got under his eye. If you have a look, you can see there's a scratch mark under one of them, and I hadn't noticed that before. And there's just these little marks and dents and stuff, and that's all before you look at Ewan McGregor's beard and all of that sort of stuff and everything else. I mean, it just looks awesome. And all the stuff on Tatooine, which would normally be quite washed out, and you might think, oh, is that all going to look a bit poor? But nope. Looks amazing. So very good story, looks amazing. How does it sound? Even better.
There's some battles in here that I cannot wait to revisit.
Before we get to the battles, Deej, I mean, this is the thing. You're expecting the lightsabers, you're expecting all that, of course you are, and that's all great. And in fact, I'll tell you in a moment about one particularly good one. That
We're going to hear about a moment in a moment, everybody.
A moment in a moment. Yeah, give me a moment to hear about the moments. In episode 1, there is Obi-Wan has a dream sequence. He's struggling because in fact, it's not episode 1. It must be episode 3. Yeah, sorry, forgive me. Episode 3, start of episode 3, where he is now aware of this character being alive. Okay, and he has a dream, and in that dream, there is the voices. There is a voice that is calling to Obi-Wan, and I swear to you, that voice floats around the room and across the room and into different speakers as it goes. And you can then, and again, I think, it must be episode 1. Yeah, he is having a dream. Sorry, forgive me. It is episode 1 as well. He has a dream about the prequels and stuff going on in the prequels. And again, all the noise and the different voices and everything is going right around the room. And you can hear someone talking over to your right, someone front left, front right, rear left, and it's all moving around the room, a bit like the opening of Overlord. You've got all the different voices. It's like that. And I was not expecting it.
Or the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, yes.
The voices in that one. Yeah,
absolutely. And the room just comes alive. And it's like and it deliberately goes a little quiet beforehand, where it all kind of, the sound moves to the front of the room, and then suddenly it's all around you. It's awesome.
We're going to talk about that again later too. Sound going away and coming back in, right?
Yeah, quite. Well, that's exactly that. It's really, really good and way better than I was expecting. And I've seen it on Disney Plus in Atmos and all the rest of it, but it was great. Now, talking about the battles, Deej, I mean, obviously you've got space battles, which sound really good, and you've got the laser bolts.
Isn't this the series where you like reprimanded me for being into the space battle, and you're like,
no. That
was
that
was one of the Mandalorian seasons.
Yeah, season 3. Yeah, season 3. Yeah. Not this. This is awesome. But there's a moment. There's a moment in one of the battles with, again, if I'm not spoiling it, I won't. So there is a battle in this, but during this lightsaber battle, okay, I mean, people are going to know what I'm talking about, but someone might not. So in one of these lightsaber battles,
they're gonna in a minute.
Obi-Wan's in it. Yeah, Obi-Wan. Again, forgive the expression here. All right, double entendre alert.
God.
Obi-Wan thrusts his lightsaber towards the screen. Okay, where's John when we need him, Deej?
John just drove off the road.
Yes, quite. So he thrusts his saber towards the screen, but as he does it, what is quite cool about this is it comes towards the screen, easy, and it goes off the screen, but as it comes forward, the noise the lightsaber makes, it's camera left, right? So screen left. So as that comes before it, you can hear the hum of the lightsaber go towards your left shoulder because it goes in one. Yeah, exactly that. And goes in one. And so it's to your left shoulder and then pulls back again. And it's done really quickly. And it makes you almost recoil back in your chair as he does it because of the noise that goes with it. It's really quick and really cool. It's during the climactic battle scene. Look out for that, episode 6. Okay. But it's really, really good.
Summarized during the climactic battle scene, there's a lightsaber thrusts.
Well, there you go. Yes.
It comes to the left.
Yes. Well, that's it. I'm not playing your game, Deej. Mikey Schramm and his family listen to this, Deej. I'm not going to play that game. Yeah, you're going to get in trouble.
I'm out. John, help me. Oh, you're killing me.
I'm not going to say he and then he thrust towards the screen and felt his presence. Let go with his feelings. Don't say just impacted on the surface, Deej. Don't say that.
I'm not. You're the one doing it. I'm sitting here being good. Oh, God.
So, anyway.
When do you take off the mask and underneath is John?
Yeah.
We've taught you well, young Padawan.
Yeah, we're getting away with it all this time. But yeah, it's awesome. And again, actually, I should make point out that the pictures that are on the screen, these are these kind of comic style menus like the Mandalorian has, and they're really nice. And this is only a few of them. There are loads more. So it's really, really good. This is a no-brainer purchase on Blu-ray 4K disc. We if they're going to give us this kind of quality, we should be supporting this all day long. In my view, I get
we've
people
been
don't
begging
like it,
for
but
it,
I love
right?
it. Well, quite, yeah.
This should send like 4K sales through the roof, because when these come out, we're like, why aren't we getting these at home? Now we're getting them at home. And I kind of feel like it's the theater going experience. All right, I'll order it when I get a chance. You know, like, it's like, I was going to try to watch a few episodes. I'm trying to load all these on. I'm loading them into my Zapiti. I just have to update my Zapiti to be able to play, because I haven't done any of that yet. And I was like this close this weekend to being able to just like I was like, I thought I had a few minutes, and defecation hits the rotary oscillator, and next thing you know, he's like, gotta go, and I never got back to it. And I know people are like, why don't you just put the disc in? Because I'm like, it's my motivation, because once I get that thing running again, I'll be able to like bang, 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 and go through more stuff. That's
well, you will be blown away by this, stage. I mean, the quality on this is crazy, and to answer Steve Att's question, he says, "So are these expensive Disney Plus steel blocks really worth the price?" Yes, Steve. Yes, they are.
Yeah,
it is not the same.
Versus streaming, yes.
Exactly. Sorry, that's what. Yeah, it is not the same. These are different experiences, and I mean that exactly as that sounds. It is an experience watching these at home properly, rather than versus the Disney Plus stream.
If I remember right, Steve has a good setup. So the caveat being, you need minimum, I would say, 75 inches or more screen, and a good calibrated room, at least 5.1 system, right? If you don't have those two things, you probably wouldn't really notice the difference, because anything under 75 inches, you're probably not seeing the difference in the quality, because it's too small to notice the difference as you get big. And that's where you get a lot of people on the internet saying there's no difference between the two. They're not being mean. It's their system is they might have a 65-inch OLED, but between the two, it's just not big enough to really pull out how great the detail is and be able to discern the quality. The bigger you go, the easier it is to discern the quality of something. And the same with the sound. If you have a good tuned sound system, you're going to hear the difference. If you don't, you're just going to be like, because that's how close they are. Both very good, but this is at another level. Physical media is at another level.
It was obvious with the Mandalorian, and I've finished season 2 now as well. It was obvious with that, but it's obviouser, even more obvious with these. And I firmly expect. I mean, I've got Andor to go through next, although I didn't particularly enjoy Andor as a series, but I'm looking forward to giving it another go like this, because I may enjoy it more. But I firmly expect that as each new Star Wars show comes out, the quality is just going to get better, and then we're going to peak with Ahsoka, which looked amazing and sounded amazing on Disney Plus, and so that should be just even more incredible. But I was so pleased with this, and if you like the show, it's well worth picking up. And I get that a lot of people didn't. I get that. It's obviously we've all got different opinions, but in my opinion, this is awesome, and the series is really good. But the home theater experience is a different level again. I'm not quite saying if you haven't seen it on disc, you haven't seen the show. I'm not going quite that far,
because it's
on its way. It's on its way. It really is, and I think you'll feel the same, DJ. I'll be curious to see what you think of it when you see it. But I think you'll be like, do you know what? Yeah, you haven't really seen it until you've seen it like this. But we'll see. But he's so good. Ewan McGregor's awesome in this. I love his acting in this. He is. I think this,
him and everything.
As much as I like George Lucas, obviously we owe him a lot. I do think that this show proves the prequels, what issues people have with them, and I like the prequels. I always have, but the issues with the acting and the line readings and the delivery stem more from the writing, perhaps, than the quality of the actors.
Yeah.
Shall we say?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, sorry. Go on. What does Van Gool say?
Van Gool saying, he's like, I have a 55-inch TCL, and I notice picture quality a little between streaming and disc. And yeah, you can notice a difference, but if you don't notice a difference, it's probably like Van Gool. You have the discerning eye. You know what you're looking for, but there are people that they haven't seen the difference yet. So it's hard if you haven't seen a difference, it's hard to see what the difference is because it's so close. And as Van Gool said, the quality a little between streaming and disc. And audio wise, it's not close. Video wise, it is close. And you need to you do need to get up there, but it's not impossible to see a difference, but I understand why a lot of people aren't seeing the difference. And if somebody's going to pose the question, like, is this worth it? It really depends on if your system can eke every ounce out of it. And if it can, it's totally worth it. If you're just happy with the streaming and you were blown away by that, that's cool too. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm going to hit this one too. We hardly ever hit these, but I'll hit this one too for Keith. He says, I just picked up a 83-inch C3 a couple months ago. Looks beautiful out of the box in cinema mode. Do you think I should get a calibration? Why would you, if you think it looks great, why would you get a calibration? And if you have never had a calibration and you're interested in it, that's a reason to get it. If you just want to see what the difference is, if you're picky about knowing that you have the best possible, that's a reason to get a calibration. If you think, especially nowadays, if you think that this is going to vastly improve your experience, I would say that's not a reason to get a calibration because stuff does look really good out of the box right now. And I think if that was your sole reason, you'd probably be disappointed. Okay. I calibrate everything that goes into my theater. I have a professional calibrator for my display, I should say. I have everything that goes in there. I have calibrated. 15, 20 years ago, I was blown away by every calibration because out of the box, everything was bad. Right, Steve? And it's like, and now I do it because I want to know that piece is giving me the best possible that it can. And lately it's just been like, oh yeah, things look a little crisper, a little nicer. But if you're not super picky, it's because they're not cheap. It's hard to find somebody good. There's a lot of, if you have somebody, that's great, but that means you've already had one. It really depends on how you feel. Are you interested in even knowing what a calibration is? So it's fun to sit there with them and watch and see what it goes through and what it entails. And so it's really that's my opinion on it. Steve, you've had professional calibrations too.
Yeah, quite. I brought a guy for we've lost Deej. He's having some issues with his internet this evening, I think. But yeah, my view on it, Keith, is I had a professional calibration done. The calibrator that came to do mine did a 9-hour round trip to calibrate my screen, but I've had them done before. I've done them myself and I've had them done professionally, and having spent the money that I spent on having this installation done and a TV that was a ludicrous amount of money, I wanted it to be absolutely perfect, because I'm more of a video than an audio guy if I had to choose, and so I wanted it absolutely perfect. And at that time it was a reference TV, so I wanted it at its peak, and I got a guy and paid the earth for a world famous calibrator to come and do it, and he did, and it was very cool. I think it's kind of but if you love what you've got, stick with what you've got. If you want it to do the best it can, calibrate it, that by all means. And I think if you want to do critical viewing as well, you ought to get it calibrated, I would say. Whatever critical viewing means to people, I think it means different things. But yeah, I think it's worth it for what I want out of it. But at the end of the day, it's got to be your decision as to whether you think you need it, whether you want it, and frankly, and I mean this respectfully, whether it's affordable. And I suppose the other thing I would say, Keith, is if you're going to have it done, make sure the guy that does it, or the person that does it is ISF certified. Don't get it. Don't go choosing someone who says, "Oh, I once had a TV and I know how to change the brightness." Get someone who's imaging, because they're out there. Get someone from the Imaging Science Foundation certification process that knows what they're doing, because they'll have the kit that will make the calibration worth it, not just some guy looking at it going, "That looks all right to me." Because, as I say, they are out there. So just kind of watch out for that. But otherwise, go for it. And if you do, let us know what you think of it, because we'd be really curious to know, how you get on.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of reasons to do it, and there's a lot of reasons not to do it, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think of this, Steve?
Good luck.
Good luck, Keith. What do you think about it? See, I'm wary of this. So Vangel says, Keith, look at ratings anyway, and see what they recommend for settings. I respectfully, Vangel, I personally, I don't think that works, because every room is different, all the lighting's different, the setup's different, the distance viewing, everything else.
Yeah.
Those I don't think are much better than someone going, "Well, it looks all right to me."
Right.
And certainly professional calibrators will tell you, because my one that was reviewed by this calibrator, Vincent Tio, he on the YouTube video that he put out when it first came out, which is up to about 100,000 views now, he in the comment section, people were asking for what recommended settings would you give, and he's saying, no, that's not how this works.
You can't.
It's not the same.
Where is it in the room? Where are the windows? Where is this? What's the light control like? What is? There's too many variables. The artings for the recommended settings, it's not for people listening to us. That's for people that are like, that's when you go to your parents' house and just set their TV up and be like, here you go. Or you call it, your dad calls and goes, how do I get my TV to look good? Here, you send them the link and go, do what this says. Bang. Because they don't really care. And it gets you a slightly better ballpark of the cinema that is in the cinema mode that is in the television, right? It's not vivid. So you go to cinema and then you tweak this from the arting settings, right? If you're going to get a Spears and Munsell disc, I'm not even a big fan of that. That's good to learn and play, and it helps you get an idea on what each setting does. But in my opinion, it's like everything in this hobby is related to FOMO. Everything. As soon as you can get rid of that, you're much better off in this hobby, right? Everybody I've ever talked to, going back to the Video Essentials days, I think it's good. If you're saying I think it's good, then you're not sure. It's so much better to go, I know that's the best it can be. Anything I do, unless I'm the professional calibrator, which I am not, I'm always doubting if I did it right. I don't care if I read Spears and Munsell cover to cover and I did everything they said. It's like, even listening to them when they were on AV Nirvana and they're like, oh yeah, the lens thing, we just threw that in for nostalgia. Even they said that, and people are like, okay, it's for the hobbyist, it's for the enthusiast to tweak and mess around with. But if you're the type of person that's like, I don't want to say I think it's good, I want to say I know it's good, and it's the best it can be, regardless of whatever piece it is. I know it's the best it can be, and really, the only way to answer that question is with a professional.
Yeah, and you get it, and a professional calibrator will give you the settings as well, and put it in print and show you what your TV is capable of. So you'll have it in black and white, or even in color.
And like Jim tells me, he's like, just take a picture of all the settings, and if anything ever happens, just call it up and go put them all back in.
Yeah, copy away. But yeah, so Vangel, I don't want you to think that we're not coming down on you. I mean, I get why you're saying that, but I'm not sure Keith is kind of really getting at that. I don't think.
Yeah.
From what Keith says, he says he did look at that, but he agrees, I think, with us basically. So yeah, but yeah, I get that, Vangel, and I think some will definitely be happy with that. But I think when you're us, we want something a little better, I think. But there we go. What does Steve Hatt says? Anything that gets people off of Vivid is a help. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
and look, Steve, I tell you, Steve, my best friend. Okay, whenever I go to his house, he has got a 55-inch TV, which he thinks is a cinema, and you could land a plane with that thing. When he wave it out the window, a plane's going to land on his street. It could not be any brighter, but he just doesn't get it. And I've said to him a number of times, and he listens and watches the podcast occasionally. And I've said to him many times, look, let me at it so I can at least do something a bit better. But he won't have it. He just likes it. And you can't stop that. Not without a bat and an upset friend.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, cool. All right. Oh, thanks, Van Gool. Sorry,
one?
I'm just making sure he's all right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
okay, no one.
Oh, Van Gool's cool.
Van Gool.
We've had this discussion so many times, and Van Gool, it's like it's so hard when one person's typing and to perceive context. Van Gool's awesome. Don't worry about him. He's shut up, Van Gool. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Here we go. Ready? Okay. Are you ready for this next one? This isn't.
I am.
I can't.
No, it's not the one I'm talking about. No,
I know,
but I might have a slightly against the grain view of this.
I think I may as well, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. We're talking
about. Do you want to do this one? Yeah,
I'll start. It's like I'm like one of my favorite movies of all time. It is one of the. Could you call it the Holy Quadruple in my room? One of the 4 original posters from my theater I have right now. The Crow. Tom Andrew and I talked The Crow on this show before. It's one of his favorite movies. I grew up with this. Came out when I was 23 years old. Amazing movie. I think it was 93, wasn't it? Something like that. I think it was 93.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's 93.
I mean, one of the best soundtracks from when I was from that time. It's like everywhere you went back in 93, you would hear this playing in people's cars. It was just
94.
94. Okay.
Yeah.
It was, so you didn't hear it. Well, you probably did hear the soundtrack in 93.
Yes.
A lot of the songs.
Depends how much of The Cure you listen to.
Yeah. But man, I will say, I'm going to open with, I don't think it's ever looked or even sounded better. But do you want to take it from here, Steve?
Well, let me back up slightly.
Steve and I haven't talked yet, but I got to imagine we have the same opinion.
Well, I'm going to back up slightly because this is, by the way, my version is on 4K UHD disc in.
Same here.
It is an Atmos, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's Atmos.
No, I have DTS. Yeah. No, mine's not. Mine's not Atmos. I checked the settings too, even before I hit play.
Right, but just let me just double check these. I've got it here. Just talk amongst yourselves a second. Let me get it.
All right. I will talk some. Dom bought the Crow 4K Steelbook. Not watched it yet. Have not seen it since 94, Dom? Damn. That's tough. Haven't seen it since 94.
And I'm back.
I see it almost every year at Halloween.
Yeah, you're okay. Yeah, 5.1. You're right. DTS HD Master Audio. There you go. For some reason, I had it in my head it was Atmos. That's okay. So in terms of the film, I like this movie. I do like it, and I've seen it a number of times.
Oh.
I don't love it though.
Okay.
Because I what I'm like. I mean, I love a film. I really love it. I like it, but to me, it's a film that where now obviously you can't talk about the film without talking about the tragic death of Brandon Lee. Obviously, horrendous tragedy, horrible. Although I'm led to believe there were all kinds of issues with this movie, the making of this film. And if you read IMDb, I'm not going to say anything on it publicly because let's not get sued. But if you read the IMDb pages on this, you will see kind of why this might have happened. Anyway, I won't go further than that.
Yeah.
But my problem with the film is I don't think they've quite fixed, understandably, because of when it was made and what had happened. I think they didn't quite fix the issues with the fact that it wasn't fully finished when Brandon Lee passed. And I think the joins show. I think the pieces all don't quite match together. I think this is a foraged movie rather than a finished movie is kind of how I look at it. And I've always thought this, some of it doesn't quite connect to me. And that's always affected my enjoyment of it. I like its style. I like it, the way it's shot, and I like the way it's done, and it, and all that stuff. But because it's not finished, in my view, I think there are issues that I bump into. So there's that. Now, having said that, it does look and sound better than it's ever done. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the blacks levels are really good. The thing itself is really well done. For a movie shot at this time and on this budget, it looks as good as I think you could reasonably expect, I think. Yeah. And it sounds great in Neural X mixed. The whole thing, I mean, it's raining pretty much the entire movie. So, of course, you've got thunder rolling around and you've got all this kind of stuff. So it does look good. It's showing its age a bit because, again, it was shot on a budget and shot in a way that affects its kind of dimensionality and everything else. But it's as good as I could have hoped it was. Bearing in mind, I'm only a casual fan of the movie, so your view on it, Deej, is going to be better than mine because I'm not as familiar with it as you are. But I like how it looked and sounded. It's as good as I wanted it to be. I don't feel shortchanged by having bought the 4K disc and indeed had it brought from Canada. But I do. I think it's as good as I wanted it to be. I would say, but it's not anything you're going to demo. In my view, you're not going to pull this off the shelf and go check this out because it's not there.
I'll be honest. I was disappointed that it isn't. There is some potential demo stuff here. Had it been mastered a little bit, louder, I should say. I felt like the track was. It's dynamic, but it's not. What I would liken it to is it's like when you hear streaming and it's like a lower volume, so you have to bump it like 5 or 6 dB. This here was similar to that, but it still was pretty dynamic. There was some great bass and not really great bass. That's not fair to say. Very good bass in the soundtrack. There was a couple of vibrations that it came in and they're ominous. It's part of the score, like something is about to happen, or they're showing you something, especially that early scene of the camera going off and stuff. The HDR, getting that HDR in this is shot with very stylized, like the comic. The comic was very dark, high contrast. This was shot that way, so that led the DVDs, the laser discs you really didn't notice because you're literally in DVD for that matter. You're literally the displays couldn't display how grainy something could be, right? So Blu-ray fairly grainy. I mean, it's always been in these dark scenes. And so the 4K on this, it's just from the opening scene when they do the cityscapes and the explosions coming out of the cityscapes. It's like it really nicely remastered. Like the contrast of it's almost black and white. It's almost has a feel of like Sin City. Right?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when they get a shot on a character and you get a skin tone, it's still like the saturation is down a little bit, but you're getting that skin tone. And if it wasn't toned down a little bit, it would be like their skin was neon because the whole movie has been, kind of black and whited throughout the movie you've got the rain, like we have the image here through the whole movie. His costume looks amazing in 4K and HDR. The details that you can see. And I went as him that Halloween, as I think the rest of the world did too. But the electrical tape that you put, everything about the cuts around them and all the strings. And it's like the details that we were dying to see before. Like when I was making my costume for this, I'm like stopping the laser disc and I'm like, I think that's what that is. And now you're like, oh, it looks so much better. The floors in the opening, the tragic opening scene, the reds in that tragic opening scene and his hands when they the little bit of exposition there that they show you, like he can heal himself. That looks better than it ever did. I don't know if they redid that or what they did, but the way it didn't look as mechanical as it had felt before. I haven't had a chance to talk to Tom yet. Both of us, I had agreed that scene that was put in where he does the makeup and everything, and you see, and it was so shaky because it was like it was dubbed in because they had to find a way to get to that without him, right? So much smoother now. And I really want to know what Tom's opinion of it is, because it seemed to have flowed better with the soundtrack. Everything just it just felt more cohesive, that scene, which is funny to say, because in that scene he breaks the glass as a way to hide that we don't have the special effects that they do today to be able to change what, to pull off what they were trying to pull off. The tragic scene when like the literal scene where he ends up in real life dying, in those scenes in here, it's like the detail. I don't know. Just because I love the movie so much, I'm like, it just feels like I know more about it. Was it Darla? Is that her name? The
mother.
The mother in that scene, when he pulls that stuff out of her, I was like, there's just details here I've never seen before, right?
Gruesome. Yeah.
It is. And you're like, and before, it's like that was all done before, and it was just like you knew what was going on, but it was almost like a caricature representation of like heroin coming out, right? And now you're like, how is that? And that when stuff like this happens, it's like, how has that stuff been there all along? That's how they shot it. The detail they had. People working in the studios get to see this for real life. How do they even watch like Blu-ray or DVDs and Laserdiscs back then, knowing what they had seen compared to now?
Lost.
Yeah. It's just, it really is. Like I said, it looks the best it ever has. Picture wise, I can't complain at all. I can't complain. Audio wise, I felt like I love it. I love the soundtrack. I think it's dynamic. I think the explosions go with it. I think the dialogue is clear. I just think it could have been, the entire track could have been beefed a little bit more, just to really show off that dynamic track that they have here, especially with all that music.
Yeah, I mean, I said, not knowing it as well as you, I enjoyed it enough. As I said, I'm not disappointed with the disc. I'm glad I've got it. It's not one that I regularly would revisit. I've got the Blu-ray, which I only watched not that long ago, so it was quite good then getting the 4K disc. And by the way, those listening, if you haven't got it and you want the 4K and you're in the US, it's very cheap over there. It's less than $20. So, and I know because I got the Canadian one.
Yeah.
So it's very, very cheap. So it's worth picking up for that, if you like the movie. So yeah, I do. And again, I like the thunder rolling around. The rain is constantly going. You do hear that. I mean,
the church scene.
I'm not going to call them the crows because they're not. They're ravens. But anyway, the raven cawing and flapping around, that all kind of sounds quite good.
Yeah, there's a couple where he flies by, where it's like flies by him and it goes by you. There's some real nice sound effects here that I'm sure I didn't have a chance to A/B this, but I'm sure we're there before. But it's just, when you improve the picture this way, it actually does enhance your audio enjoyment, because you're just like, it just.
No.
I'm happy
it's really
good,
good,
but yeah.
I mean, it nicely teases us up then for the movie, which of course the remake, which is coming soon, which also had a trailer that I saw this weekend, but I had seen it before already. No, it was the same one from before. So yeah, no, it again, if you're a fan or you're curious about it, then I think pick it up. It's definitely better than it has looked before. And I think the UK Blu-ray was kind of a third-party release, so that was especially bad. And I think a lot of the black levels were very grey, whereas this definitely fixes that.
Yeah.
So yeah, recommend this one.
Cool.
Did you say you saw it on disc, Deej, rather than on?
Yeah, I have it on disc.
Kaleidoscape. Oh, okay.
No, Kaleidoscape's still not 4K. Kaleidoscape's just in HD. I bought it on disc. Yeah. But this one I actually popped in. I didn't wait to put it onto the Zapiti. So it's on the Zapiti, but I actually just popped it in. So I couldn't wait for this, honestly. Couldn't wait for it. So.
It is good.
All right. You want to wrap up with the controversy, and we'll hit this one next?
See, that's not the controversial one.
I know, so we'll wrap up with that one.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Looking forward to talking about this.
Or I haven't seen the controversial one, so do you want to wrap? We'll hit that now. I mean, I've seen this.
Can do. Yeah, I'm easy like a Sunday morning, as always, Deej. You take your pick.
You should see my Sunday mornings.
Yeah, well, yours are not easy.
Yeah, they used to be. Right. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Controversy.
Yep. Brace yourselves, peeps. Because looking at the chat, I am in a minority of one. Okay, this is for those listening, not watching. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, which I caught on Friday night in a local theater, a decent theater. It's not IMAX, it's not 4DX, but it's a decent one. And I saw it there, as I said, with about 8 other people in the entire auditorium. So, and obviously this is theaters, not home theater just yet. Okay, now I don't think I can talk about this without talking Fury Road. I love Fury Road. 2016, both as a theatrical experience and especially as a home theater experience. That movie is awesome.
Yeah.
It's a chase movie, A to B, and then B to A, and that's it.
Yeah.
But it looks amazing, sounds amazing, and is incredible. I love that movie.
Yeah.
And so when this was announced and I knew it was coming out and Chris Hemsworth's in it and Anya Taylor-Joy, and I'm thinking, oh, great. And it's George Miller, of course. And I like the other 3. I mean, obviously Mad Max and Road Warrior, both great. Mad Max 1 and 2. 3, not so much. But that's more about the time it was made. So I came to this expecting good things. Unfortunately, now bear in mind, this is the first viewing. I've got to caveat this. First viewing in a theater where the seats are uncomfortable, even though it's a decent theater, the seats are not comfortable. I'd had a long day and I was drifting off during a lot of this. And the big problem, though, and of course, trailers, adverts, all that stuff, and this is a 2.5 hour movie. Now, bearing in mind how lean and mean Fury Road was, 2.5 hours, and it's been separated into chapters. Now, whenever I see chapter 1, I immediately think, oh no, okay, this is going to be a long one. Because you're like, I think, right, there should be a law.
There was going to be reading involved.
No, well, yeah. The night was dark. Once upon a time. I think, right, it would have been better for me if it said 1 of 5. And then I would know how many there are. Instead, it just says chapter 1, and you're like, oh, how many are there? So that didn't get me off to a good start. And unfortunately, for me, on a first viewing, and I stress that because I will be buying the disc and I will see it again because I love the others so much. But on a first viewing, I was underwhelmed quite significantly, I'm afraid. There is, and I know this is a very particular opinion. It's just me. But I'm saying now, I was underwhelmed. It is baggy. There are odd sort of story beats. There are relationships that seem to happen with the click of a finger, which are odd. There are some good action scenes. Don't get me wrong. And there's one very long one right in the middle. So there are some good action scenes, but around it is this flabby, baggy story that could be summarized in seconds, but just seemed to take ages to make a very clear point. You're talking about a movie with someone with child trauma, domestic abuse, all this kind of stuff, which is really weighty material, but is just leaden and lumpenly told. And so I was just drifting off. And if that wasn't bad enough, and it was, into this comes Chris Hemsworth. Now, I like Chris Hemsworth a lot. He's been in some great movies. He's been in some less great ones, Thunder Road, but he's also been in some, not Thunder Road, God of Thunder. Oh God, what is it? Thunder Road. It's not Thunder Road, is it? Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder. Oh, right, good. Okay. Love and Thunder notwithstanding. He wasn't the problem with that movie.
That's Mikey Schramm's middle name.
Yes, yeah. He was not the problem with Love and Thunder, but he has made some less good ones. His performance in this, for me, I'm deliberately not looking at the chat, by the way, Deej. I'm not looking at the chat. All right. Where everyone's saying, Steve, you're a twat.
Jeez.
Anyway. Yeah.
No, nobody said that yet.
Not yet. Okay, well, it's coming.
Not yet. I'll put it up when it does.
I think Hemsworth's role in this, his acting in this, his character in this, isn't quite Conor McGregor in Roadhouse. Not quite. But it's well on the way to it. And I found him intensely irritating in this, at least first viewing. No doubt he thinks he's really selling it. He's giving it all. He's talking in his Aussie accent, mate. So it's all a bit like this. And I'm sure he thinks it's great, but I didn't. And I found him incredibly irritating. Thanks, Dom. I get it. Like I said, Dom, I get it. This is just an honest opinion. Okay. Because it'd be easier to come on here and say it was great, because then everyone would say, oh yeah, I agree with you, Steve, but not for me on the first viewing. I found him intensely irritating. So when you then marry that up with a flabby, turgid story that takes forever to get where it's going, and then with an irritating central character, in my view, it does not spell an enjoyable time at the theater. And I came out of it, I was glad it was finished. And I came out of it thinking, I just really want to see Fury Road again. Because it's just not that movie. Fury Road's over here on the left, okay, driving on the left. And then driving on the right, you've then got Furiosa, and they're completely different movies and a totally different way of doing them. And unfortunately, I was expecting one, I got the other. And, first time round, it just turned me off. It was not good.
Yeah.
So maybe next time round, when I know what I'm getting, I'll enjoy it more. Maybe. But unfortunately, first time round, not for me, I'm afraid. So I was disappointed with this. And interestingly, I know I'm saying it's only me, but that research again, the box office stuff, apparently it's a B+ cinema score, which does not suggest it's going to have much legs. And according to the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, they're calling it an outright bomb.
Oh, wow.
Which I can't see that, but that's what they're saying. So, we'll see. And again, I will buy the disc. I will watch it again. This is not a Fifth Element. But I will see it again, but I'm going to go in with very tempered expectations next time around, and then I may enjoy it more.
I feel like, I find it interesting. You basically opened with what I was saying the other day, last week, with the rant, and it's like, you came into this movie in a negative. I mean, you were tired. There's nothing the theater can do about that, right? But everything around you was setting you up for negativity. You were just not. And I mean, you came in, and they need to. It's like when you go to see comedians and stuff, they have warm-up groups. They have people you going, or a band or whatever. There's warm-up people to get you going and get people in the right mood or whatever. And I feel like, just your description alone, it's like you said, this is just me. You're like, I know I'm the only one saying this, but you opened with how bad of an experience it was for you before the movie even started. So you're coming you're coming into the opening of a movie in a bad mood, and now the movie has to work its way. The movie has to cheer you up. In a movie like this, we're expecting maybe action or something, and it's like you're like a slog or what. You're like, it's not what I needed something else. I need something to cheer me up, and this wasn't it. A lot of the chat is saying like, it was great. I really enjoyed it. I like the difference. It's it's a contrast to Fury Road. It's this and that. And it will be interesting when you see it a second time in Cinema George, in a better mood, and sitting down, getting your own popcorn and drink, and sitting there in your comfy chair in a better mood. Because you're not going to sit down at Cinema George when you're in a bad mood. You just wouldn't go, right? Theaters are scheduled. You buy the ticket, then you go, and you didn't know when you bought the ticket what mood you were going to be in when you got there. And then they piss you off when you get there. Right? It's like, so they just pile on. Instead of making everything good for you and saying, is everything okay, Steve? They basically go, you thought you were in a bad mood before? Yeah. Oh, let me give you 2 more drinks and really make you angry. Hold this while I pull your pants down.
Well, it's improved immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't going on.
And it's funny. Here's Steve, DJ doing the bright side thing. I've seen it. I've had it done with me. I've gone to the movies and been like, I gotta try that again. The world is telling me this is Shazam. Did it? That was for me. I walked out of there and I was like, what the hell? 2 days later, I went back, clear head. I was like, that's a great movie. Awesome. Yeah. Loved it. And sometimes it's our perception of things. The problem is, we tend not to do that because we watch so many movies. We do give it another shot. But a lot of people, that's how they base their opinion. And then they're just like, that's the worst movie. Have you seen it since? No. Why would I? It was horrible. What kind of movie? What kind of mood were you in? What is it? You know, and they don't care about movies like we do. You know, I don't want to dislike a movie. You don't want to dislike this movie.
No,
right?
Not at all.
So
yeah, I mean, bearing in mind, you know, I love The World. I love the other movies. This is just just one that did rub me up the wrong way in terms of it, the way it was mounted, the way it was put forward, all that kind of stuff just did not grip me. I was very quickly irritated. Try changing it, Steve.
While you were talking, I tried to put it in, and I almost got kicked off my own show.
Yeah, that'll learn you. Yeah. It's not really a swear word. It's a playful insult.
Right, but they didn't know what it was, so they just rejected me. It was so funny.
Rejected. Good job.
Yeah. For people listening, I put in the comment in the chat for Steve, and it would be funny to see that negative comment in the chat coming from Brightside Home Theater. And apparently it's so negative that YouTube blocked it. So,
I like to think that this is an endorsement. I wonder
how many other people said it.
Yeah. I like to think it's an endorsement from YouTube that I'm definitely not a twat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no.
But but as I said, I mean, I get that people like it. That's fine. That's fine. And I hope I do too when I see it second time around. I really do. I want to like it. But as I said, first time around, I mean, it is possible as well, by the way. I think being honest, I might have fallen asleep at some point because suddenly there was a relationship between two characters that came out of nowhere, and it either just happened, which is how I think it is, or I did fall asleep. But I don't think I did, because I do normally know when I've been asleep. So
I told you that about
I don't know.
One of the not Harry Potter, the Hobbit movies.
Okay,
which one? My son and I forget which one.
Yeah.
But my son and I had gone to see it in a midnight showing with my buddy that I used to go see, but it was like over an hour away, further into Connecticut. So we got there, and those movies are like 3 hours long. So this movie didn't end after trailers and everything till almost 4 o'clock in the morning, right? My son and I, and when you're seeing a movie like that, like you fall asleep and you don't realize you ever fell asleep. So we saw it at a midnight showing. We thought it was good. Talked to my buddy Tom. I was like, yeah, I really liked it. Went with the family like 2 days later, and my son and I walked out and went, oh my God, there was a dragon in that? We slept through an entire scene with a dragon that was like an action scene.
Yeah, that's a deep sleep.
Yeah, we both went, but like your eyes closed and then opened, and you don't realize you missed a beat. Right?
Yeah.
And it was like, it was pretty funny.
I know someone very well who shall remain nameless, who regularly falls asleep during movies, and then, having told them they fell asleep, denies it completely.
Oh yeah,
and will not have it. And you're like, no, I saw you sleeping. Like, no, I saw the whole thing. And you're like, well, what happened then? Oh, I don't know. So like, right. So, but anyway, you got Rich. So Rich, I'm going to upset you again. I like Nope.
I didn't. Remember?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
My wife and I watched it at the end of it, like, yep, I see where they get the title. Nope.
So there you go. So Rich says you want a supreme disappointment. There's one called Nope. I like that. I liked how it kind of, I enjoyed that movie. So there you go. They're just showing.
I honestly, I don't even remember it. I just know that was the joke I said at the end. I was like, nope.
Nope. And Keith says, comes up with an idea. We should have a dark side show once a month.
No,
the world's not ready for that.
Nobody would be friends with me. There's a reason I'm bright side. Once I go dark, it's not a happy time.
Yeah, just if you want to know a proper dark side DJ moment, just go into the green room.
Oh yeah. I was like, where's he going? Oh yeah. Don't make me angry.
But there we go. So it's So as I said, I'm hoping I'd really enjoy it next time around. I'm definitely going to get the disc. I don't hate this movie. I was just underwhelmed by it, and I want to see it again properly again. Cinema George, right frame of mind. I'll do it as a premiere with some friends around, and we'll give it a go and see how we go. There we go. Anyway, enough said.
All right. All right. Ready? Is this going to be a little bit more positive?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. All right. Here we go.
All righty. So this is Alex Garland's 2024 version of Civil War, not Marvel Civil War.
No.
Completely different. Let's just so we're all clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so we all know. And this was on a screener disc. However, however, 1080p disc though, and in 5.1 surround. I think it was DTS HD. It must have been. And the reason that I know that I'll explain in a minute. So Alex Garland Civil War, movie about the future, non-specified, where the United States has essentially various states have split and seceded from the Union. And the movie essentially is about a group of journalists, photojournalists, both print and video as well, going across the country from, I think they're going from New York to Washington, but they're going to interview the president. But they go a long way round. Now, my geography of the US is not fantastic, but that rather than go straight down, what is it, I-95?
Yeah.
Rather than go just straight south, they go into like Virginia and all that stuff and go the long way around for reasons. And yes, I was going to say, is it on Kaleidoscope yet? Right,
yeah,
good.
it is.
And is it? Have you seen it yet, Deej?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
4K.
Oh, right, good. Okay.
Atmos.
Good man. Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right. Okay. So.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be literally like you're gonna be blown away. You're gonna
opening seconds.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
right around the room.
Yeah, you keep going. Yeah, and I love that setup. I love the setup for it because it's. Go ahead, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah,
right. So that's the setup anyway. And the movie is not how perhaps the trailers made it out to be, which was an all action movie. I mean, it's just not that. It's actually quite a ponderous, quite a slow moving movie about loss and about kind of where you're supposed to be and about time slipping by and all this kind of stuff, and all this then builds to quite an action-packed finale, I suppose, and it goes, but it's very tense at times. It's pretty moving. It's well done.
Like most of it.
Yeah, true.
From push play to the credits.
The only thing I did bump into a little bit in is it's never really explained. And it's not a spoiler that they're journalists because it's in the trailer. It's never really explained why they do what they do and the importance of putting yourself in harm's way. And so I found myself a couple of times thinking, just get out the bloody way. Just let them do what they're doing. I didn't quite get that.
I got it
a couple of times. Yeah. So, but anyway, it didn't detract from my enjoyment of the film. I thought the film was really good, and it's constantly entertaining in that way. You're never bored. It's really, really well done, and I can't wait to see the 4K disc on this in Atmos because this 5.1 mix was awesome, really good. So really good film. Looked great. It was a 1080p disc, so it was good enough. Very, very sharp. All everything that you could expect was there. Obviously not as good as 4K. And then the audio, my version was from second one. It was like Alex Garland, the director, shouted, "Hey, home cinema fans, check this out." And you get white noise, don't you? Bouncing around the speakers right from the very beginning. Yeah. And I'm just thinking, what? That is for me and me alone.
Yeah.
And what a way to start.
But do you know why? Like, did you pick up on why they started it that way?
Well, I assumed it's because the address, the presidential address, are doing sound checks and everything else. That's how I assumed it was. Is that not right?
But that sound, what they were doing, but no, just meaning like they're setting you up, the viewer, because if they just gradually come in like a movie and they don't have like that, it was like loud. And it was like, I mean, it's literally open scene. It's not a spoiler, everybody. It's not even, it's literally the credits, not even part of the movie.
Yeah, it's just white noise.
White noise bouncing around your speaker, going from discrete speaker to discrete speaker, right? So literally just setting you up in the dark with a credit on the wall, and you're like, wow. And they immediately go to dead silence. If they don't do that, you're sitting there going, my speaker's on? Is everything working? Right? Yeah. But you've been set up, and now you've got this tension. I won't say what the scene is. That would be a spoiler, right? And now they have literally grabbed your attention inside of 5 seconds, because now just using those sounds and then silence, and you're sitting in like a dead quiet room going, okay, and now a character shows up and you get some very small, minute sounds in your room, like buzzes, and then the, slight spoiler, you get I think something like that, and and then you're paying so much attention to it. You're like leaned in listening, and the character on the screen is saying sentences and then saying them again in like different ways. And now you're really and you're like, I know what this is. So it's like, it grabs your attention right away. And I think the way they used sound in this movie to tell the story, you're right, there's not a ton of action, but the sound is done so well that you feel like there's a ton of action. Because I'll tell you, with the Atmos, the gunfire in this is it's like 13 days or hours. What was it? 13 hours, right? The Benghazi one. Those
13
rooftop? Yeah. Dum, 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 dum. And those the precision of bass that you get out of this track is just awesome. Awesome.
Oh,
it's good. So good. You're gonna absolutely love this in Atmos. There's no way what you heard is gonna be equal to it. You're gonna be like,
oh yeah,
awesome.
I mean the opening action scene, as it were, where we first meet our journalists, again, without spoiling it, there was some lovely moving of because again, camera's moving, it's all doing that, so you get people running past the camera, which beautifully panned around, so they come past and then the camera turns around, they go back the other way, and you get then the what happens and there is movement all around. I was really struck by that right from the opening as well, once you get beyond the initial dialogue. I could tell this is a really sonically clever movie. It was great. Really enjoyed it. I think it's good. Like I said, my only slight nitpick was the reality of it. I think I would have liked to have known more from these characters about why they put themselves in harm's way, what makes them think, and I'm not picking issue with this, but what is it that makes them believe that what they're doing is worth it? I would have liked more of that, whereas it seems to be accepted that journalism is important, that putting yourself in harm's way is greater than anyone else. It's for the greater good. But I would have liked some sort of demonstration of that in dialogue, whereas it seems to be assumed. And occasionally, as I said, I was thinking to myself, you deserve to get shot because you're putting yourself in such a position that if you don't get shot by one of the other side, their own people are going to shoot you because you're in the blooming way. And so I would have liked a little bit more of an understanding from them as to why they do it. But that's a very minor nitpick because the movie's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great film. I mean, I really can't wait to get hold of this.
Yeah,
and everything you're saying about it tells me exactly what I was hoping for. And I had a great time with it. Bearing in mind, it's a drama, not an action movie. And Jesse Plemons is awesome in it as well.
Yeah, and I think we can talk afterwards with and I can talk off air with spoilers, but I think you're just like ever so slightly hovering over the point of the movie, and like how you're like saying like, oh, I wish it had this, but that wasn't. I don't believe, to me, that wasn't the point. I will say, I mean, it's journalists. It's in the description,
and it's in the trailer as well.
Yeah, and so it's a great depiction of what has really gone on through history. Journalists go out to wars and they document it. And they have to be in harm's way. And in this situation here, this is like, I mean, obviously it's their country too. So it's because it's a civil war. So they have to deal with this. And, it's just that showing what these journalists have to do, what they're doing I mean, it doesn't do it justice if you don't get in there. And, but there's a deeper meaning to it as well, I think. But
yeah.
the whole
it's just
side of
just
it.
Yeah, it's just I would have liked them to have acknowledged it. For those of us that aren't in that, and you and I have never had to put ourselves in harm's way in that way.
No.
Wandered into, voluntarily wandered into that sort of scenario, and I would have liked to have understood why through dialogue, rather than it just be assumed. Well, aren't they noble? Okay, they are, and they're very brave. Some might say stupid, but they're very brave. And I'd like to know kind of then what makes them tick. Because one character says to another, you're my hero. Okay, why? I just think there might be some deleted scenes in this because Alex Garland's well known for that. And maybe there's more to it than that. Because they might have thought, well, it would slow it down.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I think there's some scenes there that would have done that. And I mean, the person that you and I both know is a good friend of Alex Garland. And if I meet him, and I hope one day I will, this would be a fascinating movie to talk to him about.
Yeah.
And then why there was no sequel
that's
to Dread.
A different movie. It's like they weren't trying. You know what I mean? That's just a different movie. It's like why do journalists do what they do in that situation in the journalistic field? Why do some go to that and others do other parts? Why do firefighters do what they do? Why do they run into the fire when everybody else is running away? Why do policemen run to the danger when everybody else is running away? Why do these people run into it? And then what compels them? Because, I mean, it's easy for us to say when it's a hero and you're like, look at that, the police and fire, they're running to the danger. Why? If there was nobody in there, they wouldn't. I mean, firefighters know that. It's like, they're like, oh, is there anybody there? No. All right, we'll sit here and wait. throw some water, squirt some water on it. You know what I mean? But if somebody's in danger, they run to it. This here, you have a situation where you're like, you're putting yourself in danger to document it. And that I can answer that if we get into some spoilers on it. I have a theory, and I think that's part of the fun of the movie too. Because you get into it and you're like, if they answered it, what would we be talking about right now? More bings, bangs, and booms, And it's I think that's part of what this movie is about. It's a little part of it, but I think there's a deeper part, and that's why they omitted any kind of, why do you do this for a living? I felt like it would have might have slowed the movie down. And maybe you're right. Maybe it is, a deleted scene, and they thought it didn't work with the flow.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, because I mean, of course, the other thing is I think Alex Garland's been very careful, and this is something worth saying to people who might be worried about this. I think the movie goes out of its way to not give a political perspective on any of this. And of course, bearing in mind what's going on at the moment, everything's political, but this movie really does go out of its way to not do that, and it deliberately walks this line in the middle. And I wonder if there was a thought that was, well, if you have a journalist waxing lyrical about, I need to show injustice and all this sort of stuff and let the world know, that you might be walking either side of that line, right or left. So I wonder whether that might have been it. They just found it too difficult to write that. But I don't know. I hope there is something. But other than that, and it's a very minor nitpick, it's really well done. And I mean, there are some shocking stuff in this that genuinely kind of is moving. And it's really well done. And you do get a hell of an ending, and an unusual ending as well. It doesn't end how you think it would. I would say. So
I find it
in terms
unusual.
of
I just
the ultimate.
I thought it was good. I thought it was very good, and I thought it was, it's, appropriate for the movie. I mean, I thought it was doing, and
I have to say, I think I think Kirsten Dunst has never been better. I mean, she's fantastic
awesome
in this movie.
She was awesome.
Really good. She looks world weary, and kind of just looks. She just inhabits this role. You can't think of her as Mary Jane.
No,
watching this, it's just like, wow, that's completely different. Talk about range. She's really born to play this role. I thought she was particularly good in this. And obviously Jesse Plemons for the few minutes that he's in there. But I didn't realize that those two are married in real life. I didn't know that until afterwards. Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst are married in real life. She got him that role. Someone else was due to play it and dropped out for whatever reason. And she's like, I've got just the person. Now get this though. Get this, because he's in the trailer, so this is not a spoiler, but I think you'll like this, Deej, right? You can tell me what you think. The glasses that he's wearing are special glasses. I just thought they were kind of a comedic, scarily comedic
not
thing.
Shooting glasses.
Well, I don't know if that's right or not. They are special glasses that highlight color difference.
Okay.
So they're there to, so you learn like you would in a dark room, or of
Yeah.
course you're talking about the color strip that you might calibrate a TV to.
Right. Right.
That show different colors up. Well, that's what those glasses are, and the idea is that they would show up colored skin, different colored skin.
Oh no! Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. I read this
Wow.
afterwards. I didn't know. I read it on IMDb, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
wow."
Yeah. And
Hence
that
why he's asking
character.
them where
I
they're
mean, that's
from.
the point
Yeah,
of that character too. Right?
yeah. How
Yeah.
sinister is that?
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
so anyway, yeah, so but no, it's really really good. I thought it was class. Just to pick up on a couple of things in the chat. So Mike just says, "Well, I got a sub update." Not yet, Mike. Still waiting for the installers. Hopefully not too much longer though. Life is not as much fun without it. Jordan says, "Oh, I can answer this." So Jordan says the UK isn't set to get any physical releases at the moment. Really annoying. Love the film. So many incredible, intense moments. Jordan, I can't tell you how I know, but I can tell you it is definitely coming to the UK and America as well. Both are getting 4K and Blu-ray releases. Take it from me. Okay. I know. I also know when, but I can't tell you. All right. So rest assured, they're on their way.
Yeah.
Although I'll import it as soon as it's available. Yeah. So Mike says it's a great movie. And then Rich says about a sequel to Prey. Yeah, it's coming. Dan Trachtenberg, the director, is definitely working on that. That is coming for sure.
Well, Prey's a prequel, so wouldn't the sequel be already out?
Well, it'll be both a sequel and a prequel.
Oh, okay.
They do another one. It's a prequel. Well, that could be a new one. That'll be unusual. Yeah. And then Keith says, "I'm sold. Civil War is on my list." Absolutely, Keith.
Yeah.
You know, go for it. You know, there's nothing in this to make me suggest that you shouldn't see it. I mean, it's really, really good. And again, I think it's an achievement doing this in such an apolitical way, because it must have been so tempting to have gone one way or the other with this sort of story.
But if you do that, then you alienate half the world, right? So it's best to do it down the middle, and it's like you don't know which side is which side. So you know, that's the point of it. Always fascinates me when movies do pick a side, and like, why? You're like, regardless if it's your side or not, it's like I'm always fascinated of like. Oh, great. That aligned with my views. So none of my friends that don't align with my views. And I do have friends that don't align with my views. You're allowed to do that, you know. So it's like they don't like it now. It's like, well, that was dumb. Because you don't have to do that. And this is a great example of that.
Well, you can do it in an interesting way if you are going to do that, by subverting expectations. And the movie that Jordan, I think, will agree with me on this, because he and I have talked about it before, and I'll be careful how I say it, called The Hunt. And that's from 2021, where they do pick a side, but they subvert the expectations for that side. So you've got the sort of gun nuts are the hunted, the non-gun nuts are the hunters. And so they subvert expert, so you can play with it that way and make a joke of it, which is what they do repeatedly. Yeah. Great film, very good film. But this one is very, very careful to be apolitical. As you say, you don't know who is doing what. You don't know which side is, if you'll forgive the expression, right, or which side is not. You don't know. It's never said. It's never given credit for that. It's never really gone into. So yeah, it's great. Well, good old Jordan. I knew he would. So yeah, The Hunt is fantastic. Can't recommend it enough. It is good. It is good. You'll enjoy that.
To be fair, it's like obviously we look at the Civil War that actually did happen here, and after the outcome, you look and go, you knew which side. It's hard not to say which side was right and which side was wrong, right? But go back to the Civil War that happened here before that. We call it the Revolution because this side won. But had you guys won, it'd be called a Civil War because it was a war on our own land, right? But no side was wrong. You wanted to retain the land. We wanted to be free. So neither side is wrong. It's just whoever wins gets to name it what they wanted. We won. We called it the Revolution, right? So it's like, yay, the American. Otherwise, it had the Britain's one, it would have been called the British Civil War, in their annex.
Yeah, we did. We had a civil war before that.
No,
but long before that.
Right, but that was another one. Lost.
Yeah. Well, I point you to the opening narration of Braveheart, where it says, "History is written by the victors."
Yeah. Well,
So
I didn't want to spoil it. That's this movie.
Yeah. Well,
Watch
indeed.
the pace, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bright side to bright side to a Civil War. Not sure about that. Want to bet? Want to bet?
Yeah.
We wouldn't be where we were. So if we didn't have the Civil War, Steve, where would we be today?
Yes, in a different thing. But I mean, but I can think of an entire. I mean, let's not stray into this too much because this gets problematic. But there are a whole slew of people for whom the Civil War was very important, and had we not had that, things would have been very different, albeit not for us, if you know what I mean. So but we won't go into that too much. We're talking about the bright side to the Civil War movie.
And
that's great.
Civil War,
yeah. But yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, I was so pleased with this, and again, a conversation I'd had with someone the day I saw it. Actually, in the morning, I was on my way to work, and he had said, it looks great, sounds great, but the story sucks. I won't say who said that. Yeah, so I the reason I watched it that day and had got hold of the screener was because he'd said that, and I thought I need to see this. And I really enjoyed it. I like I said, I think the story's good. Just I would have liked that little bit more, but that's fine. It's still really good with what we get.
Yeah.
And Alex Garland, good on him. Although, so I will ask him about this when I meet him, and also then I want to know about the Dredd sequel because he was involved with Dredd. I think did he write it? I think he wrote Dredd. So it would be nice to know more about that.
All right.
All righty. So there we go. But yeah, very cool. Very cool. Well recommended.
Yes. All right. Pretty sure that's all we have this week. I did not grab any more pictures of the house. It's really just right now, just touching up some walls. Not touching up, but doing some finishing touches on some walls, like just so I can get I'm still waiting on a plumber to finish his job. But yeah, it's kind of a little frustrating right now. So, but I'm going to leave here. I got to go and do a few more things. I got checklists every day that I want to make sure I get some stuff done, but kind of in a holding pattern right now, but there is still stuff to do. So
just don't use Post-it notes for your list, Steve. We've established that doesn't help.
No, that doesn't help. Although, yeah. Here we go. What do we got here? The sand is too soft. That's over there, actually. Still.
Sand is too soft.
This sand is too soft. Oh my God.
Is Cell Cockatoo by Koala still there? I listened to that back and it was still funny the second time.
Oh my God. Yeah, inside. I texted Steve like the next morning. I'm like, I still get that in my head. You saying that over and over. I was like, are you kidding me?
It just made me laugh in the film. I think it was one of the funniest things in the film.
Have you seen the extended version yet?
No, I haven't been back. I mean, I need to. I've got it, but I haven't. I have not had a chance to see it.
I saw the extended version of Fall Guy. Ooh. So that's what we're talking about, everybody.
Yeah,
we're
of course.
Fall Guy. If you haven't seen it, extended version came out on Kaleidoscape. They added it, and it's not in Atmos. It's in 1080p DTS Master Audio. It's an extra right now, but it is. My wife and I still haven't been able to sit down and see it, but that's the one I'm going to show her because there are some nice additions to it. It's not as crisp even on Kaleidoscape. I mean, the 1080, the Kaleidoscape 1080 DTS is better than the stream in 4K in Atmos, but it's not as crisp as the 4K Atmos version, especially that end scene. But the extra dialogue and stuff, and it's for people, it's throughout. It's not like I told you, I texted you and John. I'm like, there's a couple longer scenes. There's a couple, like a chase scene that's a lot longer, like 3-4 minutes longer. But throughout the movie, you'll notice they re-edited some conversations, and it's really interesting to see because if you saw the original version, you get the conversation. It's concise, to the point. They move on to the next scene. But it was really cool how they popped out the actual conversation. And then they just said, like, the character on screen says the couple of words, and they made sentences out of different sentences. It's really, you'll see it. It's like,
Okay.
What they
I'm
say
intrigued.
is in a different order a few times. It's like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Let me just say two things then on that. One, Paul just says here, I hear there's a Prey sequel coming. Rumor was it'd be set during World War One, but who knows? Paul, I know who knows.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying. That's that one.
You've said that more times in this show.
No, I know.
I know this,
Yeah,
but I can't tell you. I know this person, but I can't tell you who it is.
Conversations, Deej. What can I say? But also, though, Deej, on the Fall Guy tangential thing, because we talked about when I hear Fall Guy now, I think of George Clooney. You won't have seen, then I assume, if you haven't been on social media much today, the teaser trailer to the movie Wolves that's coming.
No, I haven't heard of that.
Teaser trailer is George Clooney.
Okay.
Brad Pitt.
Okay.
In a car. It's about 30
Seinfeld
seconds.
in the back seat.
30 seconds. No dialogue.
No
dialogue. Just the two of them in a car with an irritating windscreen wiper going.
Oh my God.
And give it a go. If you get a chance, Wolves. It's called
my
Wolves.
God. I'm like,
and
that's awesome.
And the proper trailer's coming tomorrow, and it's apparently about two fixers who have to share a car together. And it looks to be a movie just in the car, from what I understand. But it's great. Have a look at the teaser. It's everything we talked about with Ocean's 11. It's come out of nowhere. I just saw it on Twitter this evening, and I'm like,
that bar scene. We need one more.
Exactly that.
You think we need one more? We need one more.
But like I said, with no talking at all, no dialogue, and it's a teaser trailer of just them in a car.
Isn't that great? Like we were saying last week with Emily Blunt, Ryan Gosling. You get what's his name? Ryan Reynolds and
everybody.
Yeah, exactly. But no, man, Wolverine. What the heck is his name?
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Okay. So those two, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, you get the chemistry between these people. You could literally just sit there. Remember some of the early trailers for Deadpool Wolverine? It was those two on a couch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we doing it? I don't know. And you know what I mean? And you were like, yes, but it's like, we just want to like them. We just want to be them. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's so good.
The only thing I would say about it, it's a great trailer, but the only thing about it is they look so old. Having just watched Ocean's 11 again, they look so old. They're both gray.
Oh no.
But yeah, so Paul saw it too. Talk about star power. It's really worth seeing. Just before you go back to the house, it's only 30 seconds. Just looking at it, it's on IMDb as well. Wolves, WOLFS, not Wolves. Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves.
Which I think might be a play on Winston Wolf.
He was a fixer, wasn't he? Yes.
And they look like it. They look like, maybe, I don't know. I haven't seen the trailer yet.
Call me Mr. The Wolf. Oh, why didn't you just?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll be with you directly.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it looks great. Is a teaser, no matter what the movie's like, the teaser trailer is just like, it is blatantly Ocean's 11. You love them in this, watch them here, so it looks really good. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
We shall see.
Oh.
Okay.
Awesome.
So there we go. Yeah. So worth a check before you head off back to the house.
Back to the house. Back to work. That sounds awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. All right. We'll wrap it up from here.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Patreons say Patreons and
thank
merch.
You. Yes. Thank you. I mean, as I said it yesterday or this morning, I should say it every show. New listeners, whatever. That's how good I am at this. You support the show. You could support us monetarily. Links are in the show notes for Patreon, boxes of popcorn. Go to the website, brightsidehometheater.com. Those are all great ways to support the show monetarily. Like you can, which, I mean, this stuff costs money and it would, helps us do things. And the more money we get, the more things we can do. So that would be fun. But another great way, and I did elaborate on this in today's Takeover Tuesday, I should do this more often, is go to TeePublic. grab a t-shirt like these. Steve's got his. I got this. I forget which one this is on the back, but we don't make anything really off of that. I get like $2, and if it makes it through the filter and it hasn't been like demonetized by whatever fees they charge you for it, we don't make hardly anything on a t-shirt. But what it does is it promotes the show. Yep. Van Gool bought a t-shirt this week. Sorry about that. I didn't reply to you. Or I think, did I say it in Takeover Tuesday? But yes. I mean, maybe that's why I said it. But yeah, he emailed me. Sorry about that, buddy. But yeah, it promotes the show because people will see your t-shirt and they'll be like, home theater, you're into home theater? And be like, they'll either go, that's stupid, or which we're used to, or they'll strike up a conversation and now you got a new friend and maybe a new listener for us. So, because I know, damn, John Thompson's doing his best to promote this show.
He is.
He is a madman. If you didn't hear today's Takeover Tuesday, I opened the show with it. Next week's Takeover Tuesday is with this Ben Goff, who is a listener of the show because of the one and only John Thompson. He met him at a screening, I forget which movie, and they started chatting. They exchanged phone numbers or whatever, and they just like, but John Thompson, who's been on the show many times, has been like, he was like, you've got to listen to Brightside Home Theater. And he's like, all right, I will. He goes, you'll really like it. He's like, all right, I will. Like a week later, he's like, Ben says this in the show next week. He's like, have you listened to it yet? Ben's like, they're like 3 hours long. Give me a break. It's so great. But he really likes it. But he is an award-winning home theater designer. He designs these multi-million-dollar theaters, right? And the reason he ends up on the show is because listener Joe Kluznik, him and Joe contacted each other on LinkedIn, and they kind of strike up a conversation about Brightside, and Joe contacts me and he goes, can I do a show? And I was like, absolutely, let's do this, So he contacted Ben, he put it all together, he had his questions, and we did a show, and that's what's next week. And it is awesome. Ben is like one of the, I mean, I don't want to spoil the show, but I'm telling you, he's awesome. And it's like, where do these people come from? It's like I just found another brother, and he's 20 minutes outside of London. It's amazing. It's like, I'm like, it's just like home theater community is unbelievable. And here's this guy who's just like building multi-million-dollar theaters, and he's just he's just like us. I can't wait for you to hear him. I can't wait for you to hear him.
Yeah, sounds cool.
No,
well,
awesome.
And he's closer to me as well. So fair play.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he does do some home theater install stuff, though. I don't know if you want his number.
Does
maybe
he
you can come over and plug in a subwoofer. It might cost you $1 million, but it'll done sooner.
Yeah, leave that multi-million-pound cinema. Could you just pop around and just press that?
Yeah. Exactly.
Thanks. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Bye then.
Yeah. He's super busy. He recorded with us yesterday. We ended up talking for probably over 4 hours. I think 3 of it got recorded. And he had been up all night working on a design. He'd had like 1 hour sleep in the last 30 hours. And that because that's he's.
You sure he's not a criminal defense lawyer?
Nope. I am not sure of that. So, no, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
So, but all right. Other than that, yeah. So grab a t-shirt, meet a designer, whatever. Have a great week. All right, everybody, have a great week. Thank you very much. We will be back next week, but until then, what are you gonna do?
Go push play.
What he said.
That's right.
Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.